Golden tools in New Horizons are kind of hard to come by. They're also a complete ripoff. In order to get the golden fishing rod and golden net, that's pretty self-explanatory. You have to catch every fish and bug respectively in the game. Donating them to the museum doesn't matter, but completing the actual Critterpedia sections does. Once you do, you'll get those recipes in the mail the following day and can craft them. For the golden watering can, you need to achieve a 5-star island rating status. You can figure this out by talking to Isabelle and asking about your island evals. Once you reach 5 stars for the first time, she will immediately give you that recipe, and you can also use it to get gold roses. You do this by watering 2 black roses next to each other, or any black rose, I think, but there is a greater chance of a gold rose spawning the more often you water them. However, you can only water flowers once per day for it to actually make an impact. The golden shovel is achieved by helping Gulliver, not his pirate counterpart Gullivar, 30 times in the communicator part quest. Once you do that, he'll send you the recipe in the mail the following day, much like he does any of his other items. The golden shovel doesn't do anything special. The golden axe is obtained by breaking 100 regular axes. Again, it doesn't do anything special. None of these tools do anything special, apart from the golden watering can. And finally, the golden slingshot is achieved by breaking 300 balloons, and then waiting for a balloon that's gold to spawn in the air and shooting it down with your slingshot. You'll get the recipe in that balloon and you can craft a golden slingshot. Unfortunately, the reason that these tools are such a ripoff is that they break. Yes, they have longer durability than the other ones, but they should be completely unbreakable. It would give you more of an incentive to use them. Personally, I go for the colorful tool options, as for me, the bobber is easier to see in the water. However, it's worth noting I am visually impaired, and looking at a brighter object on a darker background is easier for me to see, but I like the aesthetics of them. For example, the colorful rod has a rubber ducky bobber, and while not directly related to the colorful series, we have the elephant watering can, which I think is just so darn cute. I love that, and I love that each customization option gives the elephant a different expression. This is also the same for the colorful rod, in that the rubber ducky changes expression depending on the customization. I didn't know this until recently when I was watching a Diagonal stream and he pointed it out, specifically with the gray one because it looks angry, so shout out to him. Tools have different durability based on their type. Flimsy tools are going to get you a lot less durability than the regular tools that you can craft or buy at Nook's Cranny, as well as the golden tools, but that goes without saying. The flimsy tools are typically what you start off with. They're easier to craft, and they break more often, which is good if you're going for the Trashed Tools Nook Miles card, as well as the DIY Tools Nook Miles card, as you're going to be crafting them a lot more. But because of that, you can't use them as much before they break. The flimsy fishing rod can be used 5 to 10 times, the flimsy net about 10 times, the flimsy watering can 20 times, and you water a flower individually with that one. And finally, the flimsy shovel and axe can each be used 40 times. Then we move on to the next tier of tools, as I like to refer to it. These are the normal ones that you can craft, as well as buy in the Nook's Cranny cabinet. They are the stone axe, which has the same durability as the regular axe, both capping out at 100 uses. If you've ever played this game before, you know that you have to hit a tree 3 times in order to chop it down or to get all 3 pieces of wood. That's why your axes might break before you've cut down a tree completely or gotten all the wood from it. It's because of the 100 use durability. And since we're doing math here, the same goes for the flimsy axes, 40 uses. The regular axe you can use to cut down trees, so you might not be using that as often unless you go to a Nook Miles Island and get rid of all the resources. The colorful fish, outdoorsy, and regular fishing rod that you can craft each have 30 uses for durability. This is the same for the colorful, star, outdoorsy, and quote-unquote normal net. Meanwhile, the colorful, printed design, outdoorsy, and typical regular shovel go for 100 uses like the axes. The colorful, outdoorsy, normal slingshots go for 20 uses. Finally, the colorful elephant, outdoorsy, and regular watering cans can be used 60 times. These can also water more flowers than the flimsy one, so you'll get a lot more longevity out of it. The shovel is a special one, as is the slingshot, but we'll get to that in a second. With the shovel, if you use it to dig a hole without digging anything up, it won't go against your durability. Same thing with the slingshot if you use it but don't pop anything down. While we're here, I guess I could say the same technically goes for the fishing rod and net, because if you miss a fish or a bug, it doesn't count towards your durability. Back in the day when I would play a lot with my friends, we would hit each other with our nets, and it was a lot of fun. The shovel also is easier to use if you are hitting rocks. I think I've talked about this in prior videos. Don't use the axe, there's too much of a kickback. Use the shovel. Place things at the corner of your rocks to get all the items. We've gone over this before. If you're new to the game, it's going to be demonstrated right here on screen for you. Finally, though, we have the golden tools, the creme de la creme, the thing that everybody wants, but is going to be so disappointed when they get them. The golden axe can be used for 200 times. The golden net and rod can be used for 90 times. The shovel has the same durability as the axe at 200. The golden slingshot can be used 60 times, and the golden watering can be used 180 times, all before they break. And they shouldn't have to break. They should be unbreakable, like the ladder, vaulting pole, and the magic wands. It's also worth noting that food and drink items that you can get from red stalls are limited use, as you may have figured out. Same with the takeout coffee that you get from the Roost. You can only use it 3 times. That's because it gives you energy to be able to do stuff with. I also want to clarify here that when I say food and drink items, I mean specifically the handheld ones that you get from Red Stall and at Harv's, as well as the takeout coffee from the Roost. Obviously, the food and drink that you can make with a cooking appliance like an oven or whatever don't count, because you can't carry those around. You can only show them off or just straight up eat them. The balloons, fans, and instruments like the ocarina and pan flute also have unlimited uses, but if you trip and fall, you do have the chance of losing your balloon. There are also books and magazines that you can get from Reds at Harv's. I've talked about this in my Harv's Island video. Those have no usage. You're just sitting there doing an animation. They won't break. You also may not have known this, but customizing tools will also reset their durability. However, this can't be done for the golden or flimsy tools, and it can't be done for any of the axes, so the point here is kind of moot. The rules for durability as well as customizing the tools to reset do not apply if you gift a tool to your villagers. I've said this in the past, but you can gift tools to your villagers and they will use them in place of the default ones. The same goes for umbrellas. But going back to the thing about golden tools, I don't understand why they break. In all other games, they were unbreakable. It was the whole point. It was like a big achievement that you got, and then you could be repping your gold tools throughout the whole rest of the game when you played with your friends. It was like a flex that you had. And now in New Horizons, it's like, okay, it's great, it's cool, but it's going to break eventually, and then I'm going to have to craft another one, meaning that I'm going to have to find a gold nugget somewhere or go to a treasure island. And who wants to do all that? I'm hoping that in the next Animal Crossing, whenever that may be, that Nintendo will rethink their priorities, and when they do bring back the golden tools, make them completely unbreakable. I think this was a huge oversight on their part, and it's completely unnecessary. There's literally no reason why they should be breaking. They're made of gold. Let me know what you guys think though down below. What do you feel about the golden tools or tools in general? Do you use the golden tools specifically? Is there a set that you love? Like I said, I use the colorful set mainly, as well as the elephant watering can. There's something about the colorful watering can that I like, but I don't love it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video though and found it helpful. Like I said, I am interested in learning more about your thoughts on tools in New Horizons. How would you improve them, if anything? What tools would you add in the future? Feel free to leave any comments, feedback, and suggestions down below. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!